Have you ever heard people say things like this? My husband said there was something not quite right with the relationship, but when I wanted to talk about it, he said, I don't want to talk about it right now. Or someone who says, I keep wanting to say something, but I don't dare. Or someone who says, I like to keep myself just a little bit distant in relationships because I don't want people to hurt me. Or someone who might say, I don't like to get too close because I don't want to be known in that way. We say all kinds of things and do all kinds of things because of our attachment styles that were formed very early on in life. That's the topic for today in This Life.
Today I'd like to share 5 facts about attachment styles with you. Attachment is an emotional bond to another person. Do you agree on that one?
I guess so.
Kind of like love and, okay.
Okay. Attachment is a special emotional relationship that involves an exchange of comfort, care, and pleasure. Attachment is the need to receive care, approval, and physical contact with the other person. There are 4 major styles of attachment: secure attachment, ambivalent insecure attachment, avoidant insecure attachment, and disorganized insecure attachment. And the last one, research suggests that failure to form secure attachments early in life can have a negative impact on behavior in later childhood and throughout life.
Oh, whoa. So if you start off...
If you start off without secure attachments,
guess what?
That's the rest of your life will be affected by that.
You know, as you're talking about attachments, it almost makes me think of glue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not bonded well with something, I know we can only take that so far, but I'm just thinking about what does it really mean to be attached and have attachment? I'm thinking of glue. Well, I have a scenario to talk about, and this is about Harold, and Harold is 36 years old and single. And he's active at church and has good relationships with his nieces and nephews. He would like very much to get married, but he's convinced that anyone he dates will leave him. When Harold goes out with someone, he will start calling her frequently because he doesn't want her to change her mind about seeing him again. In fact, he's been told by more than one woman that his clinging behavior is difficult to tolerate. Harold's dated his last girlfriend for 1 year. When she broke off with him, he was devastated. He just doesn't seem to be able to get over her and is visibly shaken when he talks about her 6 years later. His friends at church would love to help him find a wife, but Harold seems to be stuck on the last girlfriend and doesn't seem all that interested in thinking of anyone else. Even though the girl has made it plain several times over the last year, she has no romantic interest in him whatsoever. So it's like he's still hanging on. He's still wishing, he's still hoping, he's still reviewing, why did this happen? What's going on? So I guess, what do you hear about attachment in that? What is it? How do our principles that we learned about the secure attachment, the avoidant attachment, the disorganized?
Ambivalent. You know, I think Harold has attachment issues. The fact that these women that he's dated, he is prepared to spend the rest of his life with them, and I think he might come off as being very needy and more than they possibly may be willing to provide for him. You know, and for him to be 6 years out of that relationship and it still is so painful for him, you know, there's definitely some attachment issues there.
So he's got an anxious, insecure attachment. The sad part is, if this relationship is over, and people will say all they want to about, don't do that again, don't get clingy, don't, but he will go do it again.
He's driven to do it.
Sure, because that's the attachment style that he has. He's sort of programmed in a way early to chase.
To hang on.
And probably attracts to him women who distance.
Now, what makes somebody have an anxious attachment? I mean, that sounds to me like a really bad thing. If it makes people not be able to move on, it sounds like it's a really bad thing.
Well, I guess we could go all the way back to his early childhood, identifying what happened between him and his caregiver, between him and his mother and his father and their relationship, or even maybe during his teenage years.
And that's how attachments form, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. In fact, we have a slide that will kind of look at that. We have two slides. The first slide looks at a mother and a baby. And up on the right, top right, and the bottom left, it identifies the two things that happen with secure attachment. So we used to think it's a mother simply that has her baby placed on her tummy when the baby is born. But we've since learned that two things are happening. One, the mother is able to truly get in and identify what's going on in the baby. And she or he, the primary caregiver, can also hold on to their own world. They don't become absorbed by the baby. But if we look at the second slide.
Can I stop you a second? What does it mean to be absorbed by the baby? What does that look like?
Well, let's give an adult situation, Barbara. Let's say, not role play, but between you and me. Let's say that you say to me, I am so sad about what might it be? What might I be sad about?
I might be sad because I didn't get another degree.
You mean a different
alternate degree.
So let's say you say to me, I'm sad because I didn't go into music.
Okay.
Or singing, or music. And let's say that if I become absorbed in it, it would be to say, oh, really? Why? Well, let's talk about that. And then I even investigate.
Oh, to take over my experience.
I take over your experience.
Oh, that doesn't feel good.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not able to stay over here and say, really?
So a mother, perhaps, would be so overwhelmed by whatever her baby is crying about or whatever the baby is doing that she can't still feel like an adult somehow, or that she just kind of gets sucked right into the experience of the baby.
And she doesn't know where she begins and where the baby ends.
She's so involved. He or she, whoever the primary caregiver, is so involved.
That's understandable.
It sounds icky, doesn't it? It's kind of. The other side, on the second slide, shows that, so on one side we have the mother or primary caregiver gets too involved in the baby. The other side of that is avoidant, and those are the two primary ones we're talking about today. It becomes actually not involved enough. But you know what's interesting is this mother looks really good. So she, in a sense, says, it's okay, you don't need to cry. Or it would be like me saying to you, it's all right that you didn't do music. Don't even look at that. Don't even think about what you didn't do. Just stay focused. And already you're beginning to say, good grief, she didn't even hear me. You know, that I lost something when I didn't go that route.
So could you show me, on the other side, what...
Of course, you know, I'm not the expert here.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I'm
But I'm just
asking
saying,
you.
right, no, well, I'm saying because of the example you just shared, the two with Barbara, what would a proper attachment look like? If I'm sharing with you that, you know, I didn't do this degree that I wanted to do, you know, instead of becoming so involved in it or being so distanced from it, what would that look like?